What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been getting a lot of questions about Kalgara in OP10 deck lists I'm going to play, how I'm going to deal with specific matchups, that kind of thing. And I think my mindset on Kalgara has kind of changed a little bit on how I want to play him, his curve, and it's really reflected in this deck right here. So some of the videos I'm going to be going over is going to show like different cards. You'll see that in OP10 I'm using a Zoro in one of my deck lists to try and get this rush. It's a cheap, effective attacker. It's 5k off the rip, 3 cost, and it gets rush if you have fewer life than your opponent. And I've been thinking Calgara should typically run into that in the early game, but more often than not, they're even with me, so he doesn't get that effectiveness. He's not searchable. He's not a counter. Ends up being a brick. You'll see that. You'll also see the Linlin in here. This 7-drop. I was testing this out to see if it would be any good. And I came to the conclusion that with Calgara, you don't want to use all your Dawn every turn. You want to be as effective as you can at countering the board, keeping your characters alive while defending your life. So you're going to get down to 2 life by pushing out characters as fast as you can, putting bodies on the board, but you always want to keep 1 or 2 Dawn up and use your searchers to track down these 1-cost counters. If you can get them down to 2, El Thor ends up being an awesome counter to utilize. Before you get them down to 2, I kind of try and save these, and I'm always going to be using the Earth Won't Lose here. So the reason why I say my mindset's changed is I'm not using all my Dawn every round and going on the perfect curve. You know, if you have 4 Dawn, use Omen to Holy, that kind of stuff. I'm actually making better choices as far as I'll put out like a Wiper, and, you know, I'll take a life because I'm using my leader ability to get Wiper out. But I'll be saving these Dawn for these counters, and whenever I use a Search in Upper Yard or a Shura here, my whole goal is to find one of these, and then these are secondary. 2Ks are secondary, and then if I don't have an attacker, the attackers are their third. And the whole goal is to keep longevity. You're going to go down to 2 life quickly by spamming out, you know, characters and taking attacks and stuff. But once you get to this point where you have a couple of these in hand and you have 2 Dawn up every round and you keep tracking those cards down, you're really countering every attack that they can do on your board. You're countering every attack that they can do on your leader, and you're just kind of like, you're just holding the line. You can afford to take some life on your leader, but you definitely don't want to get rid of your bodies, you know what I mean? So I found this new strategy has been actually quite effective. I'm just pushing out my 7k body, my 8k body, you know, 5k bodies wherever I get the opportunity. And then I dropped this Katakuri down to 3 of 4 because every deck I've noticed has some sort of way of resting him or removing him. He's only being effective for this activate main once, and then they're getting around him, and that kind of makes this 5 Dawn investment not that great of an investment. Like on my 6th Dawn turn, I'm still gonna drop him down, transfer a Dawn to my leader, bring out a Kalgara or a 7-drop Wiper, and then that leaves 1 Dawn up for one of these counters. So if they do swing, I can potentially block out of 1. But if not, I still have one of these up to keep myself healthy, keep my board alive, and keep applying pressure to their board and their life. And I've never really used this ace, so for me, I don't like to use cards that I don't own. And I don't own any of these aces because of how expensive they are. But if this is the effectiveness of this deck, and I'm going to be going to like some sort of competition, then I would buy these. Because this is like the Enel that's coming forth in EBO2. One of the nice things is that the sim has now separated OP10 from EBO2 from the OP11 coming out, which is really nice because EBO2 isn't coming out right away, but it allows you to just play against OP10 decks and see how this deck fares against them. And having this ace in there for that big body, that rush, that heal, and even if you don't get the rush because you're going up to 3 life, you're getting that heal, and it allows you to keep applying pressure. This is going to be a situational card because if they can't clear your board, you're probably going to want to do this heal up. But if they can clear your board, you're going to probably put some other thing out and then keep stuff up for these so that you can counter any attacks that would happen via that. And like I said, these searchers are going to be utilized to try and find these to protect your board. So I'll have some games that you can see with commentary about what exactly I'm trying to do as far as protecting my board, keeping my life up, and you know, just not using every single Dawn I have to do attacks and bring out characters every round, because the whole strategy now is to utilize these 1-cost counters or events. And then the tech card in here that I've added in is this Braham. In a pinch, you can bring him out on your leader ability. you want to bring out a 3-cost 4K body on your leader ability? Not really. But the nice thing about this is this allows you to get through, you know, blockers, because you can remove your stage, or if you're going up against, let's say, Teach or other decks that utilize stage very heavily to be effective, you can remove their stage. And being able to remove Teach's stage, if they get 2 stages off the rip, they're going to put one down, they're going to cycle the other one out. They're down 2 stages. Teach runs up to 4 in some decks, but I've noticed that they've been going down a little bit, because once they get it, they don't really have to worry about it. And being able to just take their ability to buff their Burgesses away with this card is actually really key. If I was on like my 4-Dawn turn, I could see myself either, it depends on what I have in hand, but I could use my leader ability to bring out, you know, this Wiper, or I could bring out Braham, or I could just bring out Braham without using leader ability and save 1 Dawn up for this counter to keep myself healthy, so that next round when I have 6 Dawn, I could bring out Kalgara or Wiper with my leader ability. And I would save that life by using this counter to keep myself healthy and have that extra resource later. So this card, I think, going forward is going to be really good, especially since it allows you to rest the character. When it comes to the Dofi matchup, we still don't know if he's going to catch a ban, but with Braham, you can get rid of your upper yard and then rest their Teach and attack into their Teach and try and remove it off the board. That Teach adds so much value to the Dofi deck, it's insane. So being able to target that thing that they usually don't attack with, because they know they're not going to get that 2 free Dawn every turn, and removing it from the board is going to be really key. And this Braham can attack into that Teach at a favorable matchup. They'll have to get rid of at least a 2K or 2 1Ks to keep the Teach up. And you're really pressuring their hand at that point to see if they really want to go down in card size, which allows you to pressure their life even more. So let's jump into some games so we can take a look at how the deck plays, and I'll be doing commentary. I recorded the videos without commentary, so I can kind of go over them and explain my mindset a little better as I watch the video. So let's take a look. All right, we're going up against Red Sanji here. We've got Searchers, we've got 2Ks, we've got Kalgara. So we're looking really good with this start. And we're really trying to go with the mindset that we're not going to try and utilize every Dawn that we have to start protecting our board and our life, but we got to get set up in the beginning. We're going to grab that Holy because we have the Ohm, so we're going to try and go as wide as possible. So we're going to obviously take that, and we'll counter out. We have 2 Calgara, so we'll use the Calgara to get out of the early hit. I was thinking about, I was like, do I want to go lead or do I want to get that off the board? And I think getting the attacker off the board is going to be more important. So we know with Red's rush ability, we have to be very careful. So we'll take that. We're not going to use the trigger. Now we have the counter we can utilize with the upper yard. And then we're going to probably 2K out of this 6K swing. Yeah, you always want to use your Wipers last and use your Satori's first. Okay, so now we're going to put the Calgara out. It's going to make our Ohm a 6K body. I'm trying to think on how much Dawn I want to use, because I'm still trying to get in that mindset of don't use all your Dawn to go pressure, save Dawn, so that you can go survivability. And we're just going to press life. And this is where the Shura really comes in here, because now we have an Elthor, he's at 2 life, so it's a 4K counter, and we have the Earth Won't Lose in an upper yard. So we're looking at a really good spot here. We're going to protect our board, do everything we can. We got 2 2Ks. Negative 4,000 to Ohm. We're probably still going to try and protect him. See what he's doing here. Okay, there's nothing we can do then. Double removal. We're not letting this out. Yeah, we're going to get another Earth Won't Lose. Like I said, we're going to use those Searchers so that we can keep everything alive by finding those 1-cost state events. So now we have a lot of stuff to cook with here. So obviously he's going to have to get rid of 2 cards if he wants to keep the Zoro alive, so I think we're going to swing into the Zoro. We're going to bring out that Wiper. We're going to get another Search. You're going to be able to grab... Oh, we're not able to grab anything off that Search, so we whiffed on that Search. Now we can press life even more And we still have 2 events up to keep our board healthy and keep ourselves alive. We're going to do a search. I think a 2K is a little better in that position. Yep, and we'll drop the El Thor. Perfect counter for that. There's the Zoro, but we're tied life, so it don't matter. I mean, I guess I could do leader ability and bring out something and then utilize the Zoro. But I think we can just go for game here. Yep. And then he probably doesn't have the counter, and yeah, he definitely doesn't. So yeah, we prioritize getting those stages out for protection, and then we kept our board healthy, kept ourselves alive, just so we could finish, and we ended up winning in the end. All right, Black Yellow Linlin. We will go second. I like this hand, but I think I want a Shura. Didn't find one. Can't really play anything here. All right, banish. So the thing here is, do you give up something you know you have to protect something you're not sure about? Odds are you just want to just let it go, because it's card for card. Need to bring out that wiper. No upper yard, unfortunately. Thinking, do I want to put out a holy? But no, we're changing our mindset. We want to use events to protect ourselves. So we have the El Thor, and we can find, and there we go, we found an Earth Won't Lose, so that event will help us stay healthy in the event that they swing in for banish again. Yeah, I don't like to, I didn't even think, I don't like to give life. Then Calgara out, because we already have a Calgara. So we're going to bring Calgara out here. I'm doing the math because I want to keep Dawn up for my events. All right. He gets that. Okay. So now we want to, I'm sure he's going to put in work here. We're going to try and get rid of this. He can counter out if he wants. We definitely don't want to keep that banish on the board any longer. Yep. Now he has to give up 2 more cards if he wants to keep it. So now we can put the Holy out. We have a Dawn up so that we can use an Earth Won't Lose or an El Thor. They're both at their maximum effectiveness because we can do a search with the Earth Won't Lose, or the El Thor counters 4K. Category blocker, we're very familiar with this card. So he's going to be able to swing at us for 8. So that's a perfect counter for El Thor. If he swings in for less, does some other type of shenanigans, and that's a perfect counter for the Earth Won't Lose. Then if he triggers that out of life, he'll have another blocker on board, which will cause problems, but we just playing the long game here. We're keeping our board healthy, keeping our life. You know, we're not going to get rid of that 1 life. We have that heal coming up if we need to on our 10 Dawn turn. We're going to protect. Then, yeah, we'll grab the 2K so we have other counter. Maybe we should have grabbed the Earth Won't Lose, but we do have the L4, so... Trying to figure out what he's going to do here. Maybe he should have put more Dawn out, but nope. He uses Thunderbolt. He trashes life to get rid of a 5K. So he's seeing the board as a big threat now. So we could totally heal right here, but we're going to utilize 5 of our Dawn. So I guess we'll poke for 8 to see what he's really going to do. He could block out, he could counter out, he could take the life. In a real hard spot right here with his choices, so he decides to counter out, so he's down to 1 card in hand. So we could potentially go for game here. Or we could play the long game and take it to another turn. So I opt to clear his bonus. I think we're probably gonna... So we can swing in for 5 and then bring out Mont Blanc Norland and have counter up, do a Shura Search. He could get a free block with the Katakuri, or we could swing in for 6 or 7, and then he won't have a free block. So we're gonna do a search. Fortunately, we only find a 1K. But we're very healthy in hand with counter. We're going to swing big, then he can decide whether he wants to block out, which he does. So he's going to use his leader ability to heal. So he needs to save 2 Dawn up. Another category. So he could swing in for 8. Yeah, we're going to protect our board. We're not letting him go. Vote for 8. And unfortunately, he gets the negative hollow, which pulls a 2K out of hand. I think we have enough to go for game here because there's no counter. They're going to do the free block. Yeah. Played that a little wrong, but we stretched the game out. We could have gone for game there, but now we're healthy. They have no life. They don't even have 10 Dawn yet. Now they have 10 Dawn. So there's not a whole lot of options for them. They can't win here. Okay, and we can protect this, but we let it go because we're just going to go for game now. No counter. And then just load it all up. And there you go. We utilize all our events to protect our board and our life. We stayed at 1 life the whole time. It was a good game. So overall, I think this deck is playing very well with my change in mentality on how I play it, rather than go super wide and attack board and life a bunch and just use up every resource I can to apply pressure. I think applying pressure while being able to protect adds more pressure, which is kind of weird to say, but now they have to make smarter choices. But like they attack heavy into a character, I'm using an L4 or an Earth Won't Lose to keep that character alive. I'm comfortably going down in life because I have these events in hand, and these 2K counters that I typically have through Satori, Wiper, you know, to keep myself healthy. Gives them that false hope that they can go for game sometimes when they really can't, and allows me to turn around and punish them by clearing their board, or going for game myself. So I think this deck it's a real comfortable position for OP10, and I might remove those category blockers altogether. As you saw, the effectiveness there isn't really that great for them anymore. And an argument could be said to re-add in that ST13 Ace Rusher, the 5-drop 7k rush card, because being able to close out a game with a rusher, because you don't use a lot of rushers in this game outside of the 10-drop ace, but being able to have that 7k body that can rush and still having, if you're on your 10 Dawn turn, 5 Dawn available to use counters and apply pressure to other places with, like if you have a Holy out or something, you can apply some Dawn there and do another 7k swing. So I think the deck's in a real good spot. Test it out, let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below if you found any success with this deck setup in your games, and then always consider subscribing. Really helps the channel, helps me grow. Drop a like, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. You guys have a good one.